The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The NDRRMC is set to assess the damage brought about by Typhoon Odette. Now, during last night's address, NDRRMC Executive Director Ricardo Halada said they are now validating incident reports and gathering data on casualties and affected population. They also want to focus on fixing communication towers to aid in search and rescue operations.
First will be the data gathering and validation of incidents monitored, the number of casualties, affected population, the damaged houses, damage to agriculture, and damage to infrastructure. We will also be continuing with our aerial and field assessment.
Meanwhile, President Duterte is concerned about the number of casualties. But as to damage repairs, the president said the government will still have to raise funds since the country's coffers have been depleted by the pandemic. President Duterte is also set to go to Surigao and other affected areas soon.
We are trying to raise the money. Depleted yung budget natin immensely because of the COVID. Naubos talaga yung pera natin. We prioritize the expenses.
Vice President Leni Robredo says Bohol still has no electricity following the onslaught of Typhoon Odette. Robredo earlier flew to Bohol to personally check the situation on the ground. The vice president said that many roads remain impassable due to scattered debris. She adds that authorities are still assessing the extent of damage and casualties as communication lines are mostly down. The office of the vice president continues to call for assistance for the victims of Typhoon Odette. Urgent relief goods are needed, such as blankets, hygiene items, bottled water, face masks, alcohol, rice, and ready-to-eat food. Now, you may drop this off at their volunteer center, or cash donations may be coursed through their Angat Buhay partner. The NDRRMC says that there are problems in communication lines due to damaged cell towers in areas where Typhoon Odette first made its landfall. In an interview with the Chiefs, NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal said cell towers were damaged in Siargao, several areas in Surigao del Norte, Cebu, and Bohol. Now, telco companies are now working on restoring mobile phone signal in these places.
Nagkaroon din po tayo ng problema sa komunikasyon dahil mukhang napinsala po ang ating mga cell towers doon po sa areas na unang sumalubong doon po sa mata ng bagyo na nag-landfall. Intermittent po ang signal kasi ongoing po ang restoration po ng mobile phone signal ng ating mga telcos sa area.
Timbal also said restoring power in areas battered by Odette is a priority. Timbal reported that the Energy Department is fast-tracking power restoration, partly over concerns of COVID-19 vaccine wastage.
Pero may mga contingency plans naman po ang ating Department of Health para maremedyohan po itong sitwasyon na ito patungkol po sa mga bakuna. As of this time po, ongoing naman din ang restoration, the repair and the restoration ng power doon sa iba't iba pong mga location na nadali po nitong si Odette. Hopefully po before Christmas.
In other news, almost 4 million people have fallen below the poverty line in 2021. That's according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us the breakdown numbers in this report.
The pandemic has pushed millions more Filipinos into poverty. The Philippine Statistics Authority on Friday reported that poverty incidence among individuals shot up to 23.7% in the first 6 months of the year. That's equivalent to 3.87 million additional people, or more than 26 million people in total who are poor. Meanwhile, there are now more than 4.7 million families who fell below the poverty line. Based on PSA's data, a Filipino family of 5 now needs more than 12,000 pesos per month to cover basic food and non-food needs. That's higher than the monthly average of 10,532 pesos in 2018. The PSA pointed out that salary increases are not keeping up with inflation.
Tumataas ang ating poverty threshold talaga every time we compute official poverty statistics because of increasing prices. Itong 2021, hindi ganong kataas ang increase sa income. Tumaas lang ng 4.5%. So mabagal ang increase sa income kaysa doon sa poverty threshold.
Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Chua said the stringent quarantines were to blame, but NEDA is retaining its target of bringing down the poverty incidence by the end of President Duterte's term.
With stronger growth in the second half of 2021, as we further relax restrictions and increase our vaccination rate, we can expect poverty incidence to decrease.
By region, Metro Manila had the lowest poverty incidence, while Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao posted the worst rate. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Now, a government statistician says the closure of many income-generating businesses caused more Filipinos to fall below the poverty line. Speaking to the Chief's PSA Assistant National Statistician Wilma Guillen said the decline in remittances from abroad, transportation, farming, investments, and fishing activities largely contributed to the higher poverty incidence in 2021.
We all know that during the pandemic, there has been decreases in the income of the Filipino families. There was an increase, faster increase in the overall CPI than the growth in the income.
Now, with only a week left before Christmas, the Health Department is urging the public to be safe this holiday season by using e-wallets to give out aguinaldo. Shaila Francisco tells us more.
As early as now, 4-year-old Jana is coming up with ways to collect her aguinaldo without actually knocking on the doors of her ninongs and ninangs. She's not just dancing to Christmas songs, but is putting animation to her video, which she uploaded on social media. Her mother says it's better to take extra precautions amid the pandemic.
Para sa akin, mas importante pa rin yung nakasanayan natin, yung tradition natin before na nagpapalitan ng regalo, yung mga bata, ganun. Pero okay lang din naman since marami naman ang paraan ngayon ng online. Bilang isang magulang, iisipin ko pa rin po yung safety ng anak ko.
While restrictions have been relaxed, some ninongs and ninangs still plan to give online gifts, like Carlo, who has 20 nephews and nieces. He's making up for last year as he wasn't able to give out ampaws. That's why he tells his inaanaks just expect cash gifts to be sent through e-wallets.
As far as yung Christmas spirit, medyo iba pa rin kasi yung personal na gift giving. Pero at least meron siyang alternative na pwede kang magbigay na walang physical contact.
Using GCash, users can send their cash gifts through the Send Pamasko feature. On PayMaya, they can use the Send Money feature. And you can even add GIFs and themes.
They can send Pamasko anytime and anywhere to anyone, whether it's to another PayMaya account, to another bank account, o kahit send to someone na walang financial account via smart padala. And no charge kasi sasagot na namin yung InstaPay fee transfer nila.
Aside from cash, ninongs and ninangs can maximize the use of e-wallets in sending gifts to their inaanaks. They can send virtual gifts such as loads and e-vouchers, or they can buy gifts such as this using their e-wallets and send these to the houses or addresses of their nephews and nieces.
E-wallets have partner merchants ranging from restaurants, fashion, books, and others. Menandro did just that, saying he plans to give his nephew a toy car instead of cash.
Ako nag-work ako, so I do visit a lot of places. And if mag-visit ako sa kanila, it can affect them sa health nila. Better to give them something that they can use or they can play with. Yes, mas ma-appreciate nila.
The health department says children can still enjoy their gifts from ninongs and ninangs without exposing themselves to COVID.
Lagi po natin tatandaan ang atin pong mga kabataan, those less than 12 years old, wala pa po silang bakuna. So yung protection po na na-enjoy ngayon ng ating mga magulang at ang ating mga kuya at ate, hindi pa ho na-enjoy ni Bunso. So sana po mas maingat tayo para sa ating mga kabataan. Kung kailangan pong namamasko po, maaari naman ho siguro magkamustahan ang inaanak at sa kanyang ninang through virtual means o kaya ay sa telepono at saka na po tayo magkita-kita ng harapan kapag po talagang sigurado na tayo, naligtas tayo sa banta ng Omicron variant.
Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Typhoon Odette is expected to slightly re-intensify while moving over the West Philippine Sea. Now, pending petitions against Bongbong Marcos's candidacy are down to 6 as the COMELEC struck down one petition for being, quote, grossly insufficient. And in contrast to past weeks, London pubs and bars are now resemble ghost towns as fear of the Omicron sent residents holed up at home. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 10:15 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.